Welcome everybody to today's video. In today's video, I'm gonna show you why the cow opening is trash and why you should not play it.
I have invented my own chess opening, and this opening has never been played before.
I told you guys before, like, this is not some new opening. This was an opening that was online, like, in the 90s.
I searched in a database with over 5 million games, and not a single person has ever played this.
Literally, I saw this opening in Crazy House 20 plus years ago, so let's be serious.
At first, most people thought it was extremely stupid. I mean, why would you put your pieces on deliberately bad squares right in the opening?
The cow is just, you just place your pieces on not very good squares, and it's even worse than giving your rook away. Not objectively, but in some kind of spiritual point of view, it's worse.
Why?
Spiritual point away?
Because you don't do anything.
So you're saying maybe one day in an IRL tournament you would play the cow yourself?
If the circumstances were right, I mean, maybe my last game of chess ever, like the game before I retired.
What?
Okay.
I do something like that.
Game.
Last year we played like Polish Gambit or maybe cow opening, who knows? Any surprises to expect this time?
You mentioned the cow opening, which I think is just stupid. It's like, it's incredibly, I mean, I assume it's a joke on the hippo, but it's like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
A comment today cracked me up. Has Gotham's channel been reduced to just covering frank cheater content? I've learned so much more from Anna Kramling recently. I went to Anna Kramling's YouTube page and her last video is about the cow opening. And I was like, you learning a lot from the cow opening? Anyway.
A lot of grandmasters thought that this was completely unplayable, but I won quite a lot of games with the opening, and I started receiving a lot of messages from lower rated people saying, Anna, this is finally an opening that I can remember.
I mean, everything's winning here. Knight g5 is winning, takes is winning. I mean, all roads lead to Rome. Just a question which one I want to go for. I mean, I'm even going to play Dina, so I'm just going to sack and go queen h5. Don't even care. Yeah, no nonsense.
So, what do you think of this opening for white and for black?
Both seem like completely amazing humans and a little bit less amazing chess players. I just say some opening principles and then everyone can decide on their own.
Okay.
If it's a smart opening or not so smart opening, okay? So opening principle number 1, control the center. That's it. Okay. Opening principle number 2, do not move any piece twice before you move every piece at least once. Okay?
So, in one word, how do you define this opening?
Against all principles.
In one word! Okay, thank you.
So how do we refute the cow opening? First of all, I want to say that the opening for deers, cows, sheep, geese and other farm animals does not look that attractive to play for white, neither for black, by the way, as all normal players know that first of all, you take control of the center, then you develop your minor pieces, and then you castle, and only then you start attacking. So e3, we're gonna play e5, d5 is also possible, d3, d5, knight e2. They go for the cow setup. There are two options here. Let's go for the most solid. Knight to c6. We're waiting. Knight b3. Now we know that they're trying to play the cow. You have to know the main plan, which is gonna be to push the pawn h. Exactly, the side pawn, the crap, as I used to teach Andrea. And when they're gonna put the other knight on b3, guess what? You're gonna do the same thing. Push the a pawn, a5, a4, kick the knight, a3 and destroy the pawn chain here, and that's what you're gonna do with this pawn, h5, h4, h3 and destroy the kingside pawn and kick the knight either on the square where the bishop should be, or if the bishop is already there, then completely to the place where the bishop was starting. You have two major plans here, to sacrifice the pawn or not. In both ways you get a huge advantage. Let's look at the line where we sacrifice the pawn, h5. They're gonna go knight takes h5, and now you go f5, double exclamation mark, with the idea that you want to play g6, and then you also want to play f4 and kick the knight from h5 and then from g3. It is important to note that in the openings for deers, cows, monkeys and orangutans, white goes against all rules of chess. Look at this position. White is not fighting for the center, which belongs to black, White gave away all strategical key squares and wasted so many precious tempi, which are so vital for healthy piece development in the opening, just because one silly goose thought that knight on b3 and g3 looked like horns of a cow. And that now everyone, including Tyler 1, has to play chess like this. What a disgrace. Bishop e2, and now we go g6, attacking the knight. Knight goes back, we go knight f6, development very important, we cannot start attack without our pieces. Knight d2, and now f4, the plan that we had just before. E takes, pawn takes, knight f1, and this is the culmination. Look at white's pieces, they're all on the first and second rank. This is honestly traumatizing. Bishop d6, continuing the development, knight b3, another attempt to put the antlers of a cow somewhere, like to hang on the wall maybe. Queen e7, bishop d2, d4, c3, trying to kind of like attack the center, but you don't have enough pieces. Bishop g4, pinning the bishop and preparing the attack. After h3, we sacrifice the bishop. f3, but counter-attacking their bishop in all fairness. And they cannot take because there is a pin, so they took the pawn on f3. Now you go bishop takes f3, rook g1, knight e5, and are you ready for this? Knight e4, knight takes d3, knight takes d3, stalemate. Let's go back to the line where we do not sacrifice the pawn because we don't have to. We can play more solid, g6. They go knight d2 because they want to put the other knight on b3, and you know the plans. You can either start with h5 here or a5, a4 later, but obviously it makes more sense to play h5. And if they go knight b3, here you really have an option of a5, a4 or h4. Again, h4 would be the most logical. Knight goes back. You continue with h3 because you want to destroy their king side. They go g3, you put the bishop there because you say, hey, light squares belong to me. They're gonna go bishop d2, you go bishop f3, you remind your opponent how important it is to protect light squares, rook g1, knight f6, bishop c3, knight g4, going for the kill, d4 and knight h2, d takes e5, I don't really know what white is doing here in the center, knight takes f1, rook takes f1, h2, e6, very lame attempt to do some checkmate, and believe it or not, but black promotes to another queen and wins the game. So this is the plan that you need to know. This is basically the setup in the refutation of the cow. You might consider here a move h4 for white, trying to stop this aggressive attack, but then you can just play bishop e7 and go for this h4 pawn, and you will still have a huge advantage because you'll have the center and the development, and you can castle any side, maybe preferably long here, but you will see according to the game. And white will unlikely finish the opening. You ask me, but Dina, how did Tyler 1 get from 250 to 950 in 1 month by playing cow opening if it was so bad? Well, son, let me tell you a secret. If Tyler 1 was playing normal openings and Anna Kramling was teaching him how to play chess instead of how to degrade in chess, he would have already been 2250. I guess Anna simply didn't want the student to overpass the master. Follow Russian Chess School for more tips and tricks to get your chess to the next level.